Now, if you are 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 year away from that magical day of retirement, you're probably wondering, on that last day, the last day of work, what would that person tell me that I need to be thinking about, that I need to be focused on today to get to a successful retirement? Well, lucky for you, we're going to have a conversation with a gentleman, Fritz Gilbert of the Retirement Manifesto blog, about that very conversation, because today is his last day of work and he's got some wisdom for you. Hey, welcome to the Roger That Show. I'm Roger Whitney, the Retirement Answer Man, and this is a show dedicated to helping you not just survive retirement, but rock retirement. If this is your first time here, subscribe on the subscribe button so you can get some retirement wisdom too. Now, when I woke up this morning, I looked at Twitter. I have a little routine, and I looked at Twitter, and the first tweet I saw was from my friend Fritz Gilbert from the Retirement Manifesto blog, and he said, "Hey, I am 9 hours away from retirement. Today is his last day of work." Now, if you have listened to the Retirement Answer Man podcast, you know that Fritz Gilbert was the first live case study that we did on the show, where he shared a lot of his journey, and we have become friends since that first case study. And he's launched the Retirement Manifesto blog talking about his journey towards this day. And it's a great blog, so you need to check it out at retirementmanifesto.com. So when I saw the tweet, I reached out to him. I said, "Hey, Fritz, it's your last day. Why don't you and I get on and do a little video to talk about how it feels to be the last day of work and talk about some of the intentionality that it took for you to get to this point, and tell us some of the things that you're excited about, some of the things that you're a little worried about, and how it feels to have all this work come to fruition and be looking forward to a life of time freedom." And you'll be amazed at a lot of the insights that he shares. So let's go talk with Fritz. So I'm checking my Twitter feed this morning, and like the first tweet in my feed was what my buddy, the Retirement Manifesto, Fritz, it's your last day of work.
It is officially the end after 33 years. And I tell you what, Roger, you were a big part of making it happen. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be here. You know, the last day of work after literally decades and planning this for many years, it's here. And I was so excited when you reached out and said, "Hey, let's talk." So thank you for that, Roger. I appreciate that. This is fun.
I think you did all the work. I just encouraged sort of towards the end, but
okay.
And it's sort of cool because, you know, Retirement Plan Live on my end, we have our results webinar of our Flying Solo edition, which is the live case study. And the first one was you.
It was.
And it was really all your idea. So,
you know, it's funny. It's funny how that worked, Roger. And I think what's even more interesting is how it's developed over the years. And it's a great thing that you're doing for the community. It's a fascinating topic. You know, I think going solo this time was a great call. And yeah, I just kind of had the idea. So, you know, I listened to your podcast for years. So I reached out to you, and look at what's happened since. We've become great friends. I've started my blog, which has been very successful. And, you know, this is what it's all about, retirement. And today is the day. So I couldn't think of a better way to wrap it up than to have a chance to, you know, say hello to you. This is great.
So let's talk about you. This is your last day of work. I know you're super intentional about everything that you do. But give me like the 2 or 3 items that got you to this point and some of the things you're excited about.
Fair enough. I would say, you know, the normal process, you focus on the numbers, right? Everybody focuses on the numbers, and probably 3 to 5 years out is when I really started getting serious about the numbers. And, you know, you got to make sure the math is right. I ended up working 1 more year. When you and I did the, you know, Retirement Live thing, we were trying to say, "Hey, can you get out by 54? And the answer was yes. I decided to work 1 more year because a very good friend of mine did that. And he and I talked about it. And he said it was the best decision he ever made, because it just eliminates a little bit of that anxiety, you know, in retirement. You got a little bit of a buffer. So the initial focus was the financial side. But what I've been thinking about a lot more over the last 6 to 12 months is the non-financial side. You know, it kind of like, you know, your whole concept, you and I've talked about it a lot. The real challenge for a great retirement is the non-financial stuff. You know, what's going to be your purpose? What's going to motivate you? And that's really where I've been spending the majority of my brain time thinking about retirement. We've got a great plan. We were very intentional, as you said. We've had about a 12-month, very specific month-by-month spending plan, to get our toys for retirement. We knew what we could spend. We had it all projected into the cash flow. So we bought a new truck. We got our RV. We're ready to hit the road. So we're going to be doing some traveling. My wife's always wanted to take a cross-country train trip. So we booked a cross-country train trip in August. We're going to go from Atlanta all the way out to Seattle, going out the northern route, coming back the southern route. Our daughter's now in Seattle, by the way. And the big news, we're going to be grandparents. So it's just perfect. So that's what I'm most excited about, obviously, of everything. So, yeah, everything's going great. We're gonna travel. I haven't even told you this yet. About a week ago, as I'm retiring, I got a phone call from a good friend of mine in the industry. And he said, "Hey," he said, "I hear you're retiring." And I thought he was just calling to, best wishes. He invited me to be on their board of directors. So I've accepted a board position, which will keep me a little bit engaged, but it's once a month board meeting, minor time commitment, but mentally stimulating. So, my wife and I talked about it, and so I'm going to be doing that. I could go on and on and on. I won't, but it's all good. It's a very exciting time in life.
Well, that's interesting for you to say about the numbers, that they're so important, but so much of it is not about the numbers because you're such a spreadsheet geek. You're like one of the ultimate spreadsheet.
From you, that's a compliment. Thank you, Roger.
So when you were at the 3 to 4 years away from retirement, that's when it really ramped up about thinking about it. And then you started to understand all the things that you're going to have to deal with. Did you find your anxiety level about, man, how is this all actually going to work? Did that ramp up?
Yeah, but I think what's been interesting through the process, initially you just don't know, right? Do I have enough to retire, right? Everybody asks that question. As you start fine-tuning it and you really start working through it and you start really looking at your spending assumptions, which you've got to do. We tracked our spend. We don't normally track our spending. We tracked every dime for a year. And we did that so we'd really have a solid base case. And then we took that and we said, okay, how is that going to change in the post-retirement lifestyle that we're dreaming up, right? Your pasta and spices scenario, right? So we did that. And once you really have spent the time on that and you really have a sense, a grounded sense of what you're going to need, we're going to have to buy private insurance. Fine. We put in, $25,000 a year, private insurance. Once you've built all those types of things into your numbers, the anxiety goes down because you're like, and then to work the one more year on top of it, you're like, you know what? Everybody I've talked to, I'm sure it's not universal, but the people I've talked to, they said, once you retire, you don't really think about the money side anymore. It is what it is. You've made your decision. You live on what you've got. And if you have to make adjustments, like your flight, cross-country flight, you make mid-air adjustments. We've got a process now where every year, as we update our net worth, we'll look at our safe withdrawal rate, and we'll kind of use guardrails, right? We're going to have basically a floor and a ceiling. We're using about a 3% withdrawal rate, so we got a very safe withdrawal rate. We're going to adjust it every year. Once you've kind of got that process in place, there's really no anxiety. The anxiety is more about, wow, I've always worked. How am I and my wife, how are we going to fill the time that, our entire lives has been filled by other people telling us what to do? That's more the anxiety side, but that's an exciting anxiety. That's not like a nervous anxiety. That's a great challenge. It's a fun thing to think through.
Well, I think one thing you did, and I don't know how intentional it was, knowing you, I'm guessing it was, is many of us don't think about what we're going to do. We just think it's going to be all sunshine and rainbows once we take this pain away from work, right? And you traveled. Your last day of work, you are in another city. Sitting in
I am. I'm looking out at Lake Michigan. I'm in Chicago. So, yeah, what a coincidence, right?
It's for you, what I've noticed since we started working together is you created this blog, this Retirement Manifesto.
Yep.
But you didn't just blog. You became a super networker within that community of bloggers, much more than I am actually. And one, I think you just enjoy it. So this is your expression of it, but you've basically created this network of friends across really the world via your blog.
Yeah.
Which is helping replace that social network from work.
Yeah, I can't tell you how pleased I am with that whole development, Roger. I did not see it coming at all. The blog was just an experiment, right? And this goes, I think the principle is try new things, right? This was just a try new thing. I had no idea where it was going to go. I had no plan for it. And the way that it's developed is, especially like you're talking about now, it's become a bridge to retirement. It's something that I built in the last couple of years that is going to give me a purpose. It's going to give me community. It's going to keep me mentally stimulated. And I'm helping people, right, through the work on the blog. So check, across the board, just because I tried something. So yeah, you're spot on. And that's something, well, I did not, that wasn't an intentional act. That's just something that developed kind of serendipitously. And it's one of the best things I've done as we've, prepared for retirement.
And I think, for you, because people that listen to blogs or podcasts or read blogs and listen to podcasts, it doesn't have to be some online thing, right? It can be book clubs. It can be my wife is redoing furniture now that she left her.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this outward to the world thing.
Yeah.
Like the communities that we play in.
Exactly. I think what's important is that it's something that you have an interest in. My wife does pottery. She's really good at it. She started about 2 years ago now. And she just, she's always had an interest. She went to a studio. It's her sanctuary. She's fallen in love with this. It doesn't have to make money. It doesn't have to involve other people. What's important is that you just try different things that interest you, and something clicks. That's living life, right? That's developing those things that in retirement are going to fill your time with purpose and keep you engaged. And it doesn't matter what it is, right? We do dog rescue as well. We do a lot of things. The blog is the most visible one, but we've replicated that. I found a group of guys that I swim with in a nearby lake. I could go on and on. I think the concept is
before you retired. So you were preparing rather than just waking up the next day and say, what do I do?
Exactly. And I'll tell you what I've learned, Roger, and you mentioned about thinking a couple of years beforehand. The chance of depression, according to the stuff I've studied from my blog, and I've written an article about this, it goes up by about 40% in retirement. And according to this research that I've read, the number one thing that you can do to reduce your chance of falling into what I call a failed retirement, where you're depressed and, that's really sad, right? I feel for people, and I really wanted to avoid it in our retirement. And what I found is the number one thing that you can do to minimize the chance of that is to spend as much time as you can before retirement to think about what you want your post-retirement life to be. And when I read that became my focus. And that's kind of where I shifted away from the financial and started moving into the softer side. And I think it's tremendously important. We'll see how it goes, right? I'm not retired yet. I got, about 7.5 more hours, right? But I think it's going to work. I feel really good about it.
I am so excited for you. Proud of you, proud to know you, and the fact that I've been able to, watch and talk to you as you're on this journey, and love your intentionality. So the big question is, what are you going to do tomorrow morning?
I got to tell you something. Actually, my sister sent me that text. She's great. And she said, I just heard a song on the way to work, and it's Matthew West. I can't remember the name of the song. I actually put it on my calendar. So I still use a calendar, although I had to migrate to a personal calendar because I've always used my work calendar. Anyway, she said, when you get up in the morning, do whatever you do, but stop and listen to this song to start your day. So I'm gonna get up in the morning and I'm gonna listen to a song by Matthew West, and I'll send you the name, but you can put it out wherever, somewhere so people can look it up. But no, seriously though, I think tomorrow is just gonna be a day where I just relax. I'm home with the wife, and I just absorb the fact that retirement has started, and I'm just going to take it easy, drink a lot of coffee, sit on the back deck, play with the dogs, spend time with my wife. We'll probably go out to lunch, and maybe we'll go out to a really nice dinner, right? We've been doing a little bit of that to celebrate as we're getting into this, and I'm just going to be contemplative and relaxed, and that's how I'm going to start, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, I'm so excited for you. And I am so excited that I have no doubt you're going to share a lot of your journey and the reflections and the lessons on the Retirement Manifesto blog.
You can count on it, Roger. And I thank you for your friendship. I really do. It's really neat how this has blossomed. And your trip to Mongolia, I've been watching. We're friends, and it's really been fun to walk this journey with you, and to have you help me walk my journey as you do to all your listeners. You're fantastic at what you do, and I'm living proof of it. You helped me get here, and I thank you for that, and I thank you for your friendship.
All right, man. Now get back to work. You're still on the dime.
Yeah, you know what? I'm at a conference, right? This is a big deal. There's 500, 600 people here from all over the world, which is why I chose this week to retire. But look what I'm wearing today. Normally this is a coat and tie thing, right? Today I said I'm going to wear a golf shirt. I'm going casual today. What the heck? I think I've earned that.
Man. Don't mail it in. Keep going.
All right. Hey, we'll see you, Roger. Take care. God bless.
So I'm so excited for Fritz on his last day of work. I know he's not going to mail it in. He's gonna give all to his company and then have a great retirement. So my question to you is, and I'd love to hear in your comments below, what is the one intentional thing you can do today to create a successful transition into retirement?